but I'm going to try stay focused on you guys. So welcome to our webinar this afternoon about how hotel groups can scale sustainability across 100+ properties. Although this webinar is tailored around data management for big hotel portfolios, there's absolutely value in small independent hotels and smaller hotel chains to still join in and get some awesome wisdom from our speakers. First of all, just a little bit of housekeeping. We absolutely love questions, so please feel free to put questions in the Q&A button on top of the Teams menu. You're welcome to put questions in at any time. If a question pops up during the presentation, please feel free to write it down, because often you'll forget your question and then you won't remember it by the time we have the Q&A at the end. You are all muted at the moment, but at the end of the Q&A, please feel free to unmute yourself if you would like to ask a question in person. And lastly, the agenda for today, we're going to start with our lovely head of marketing, Kristian, who is going to take you through the big nitty-gritty of the why and how. And then we are going to hand it over to Janus Hulbert, who is our solution specialist from BeCause, and he's going to take you through a demonstration. And then we are very excited to welcome Amy Hulbert from Best Western Hotel Group, and she is going to give us her awesome insights of on-the-ground wisdom with how her hotel group is dealing with all these issues around sustainability data management and rolling it out across her ginormous portfolio. So we're looking forward to that. I think we can kick it off with you, Kristian, if you're happy. Oh, apologies. Before we start, we're actually going to run a poll. The poll is going to pop up on your screen, and it is 2 questions. The first question you should be seeing on your screen right now is, how does your hotel group currently manage sustainability data across properties? And we would love you to please tick the most relevant box for your hotel group. You can see the poll. Hey, Janus, is it all well on your screen there? Okay.
Yep.
And then when you have all submitted your answer to your first question, if you could press next, and there will be a second question about what's driving your sustainability data priorities right now. Okay, we'll just give it a few more seconds. People just joining from the waiting room, we're just running a poll. A poll would have popped up on your screen. And if you could very kindly select your multiple choice, which is most relevant to you, because it is just an awesome way to see what your current challenges are you dealing with in your hotel group, to see if all our challenges are aligned or if it's pretty niche to your portfolio. Okay, we're going to go through the poll answers. I think that we've got half of the room have responded. So how does your hotel currently manage sustainability data across your properties? It seems like an even split between we use a mix of spreadsheets and local tools, and each property manages it independently, which is very interesting, because I cannot imagine that would be easy. First of all, using spreadsheets, which are super manual, and secondly, each property doing it their own way. I'm sure that's really difficult for data consolidation across the portfolio. And then the second answer, the outlier, is what's driving your data priorities right now. Very cool to see. It is corporate RFPs and client demands. Love that. Yeah, commercial value is clearly one of the big sustainability drivers at the moment. Thanks so much. Lovely to see how everyone's doing it differently, but let's hand it over to Kristian. Kristian, thank you so much. As I said, he's our head of marketing. Thanks, Kristian.
Thank you, Julie. Sound okay? Yeah, my sound goes well. Perfect. Lovely, thank you. And welcome, everyone. Really glad you're here today. So over the next 30 minutes or so, you're going to hear it from the 3 of us, as Julie said. I'll set the scene here now on where the market is right now and why getting your sustainability data right at scale has never mattered more. Then Janus will take over and showing you exactly how BeCause platform makes that operationally achievable. And then we'll hear it from Amy at WH at the end on how that looks in practice. So before we get into the how, I want to spend just a few minutes on the why, because the context has shifted meaningfully in the past 12 months, where there are two pieces of published work I'll be drawing on here. One of them being, Booking.com's recently published their 2026 Travel and Sustainability Report, their largest ever, covering more than 32,000 travelers across 35 markets. And alongside that, our very own milestone report here at BeCause, drawing from our platform data with more than 2 million data points across more than 60,000 hotels, and also research across the network. So together they have direct implications for anyone managing sustainability across a hotel portfolio. So bear with me for a few slides, because I think this data reframes the urgency of what we are here to talk about today quite nicely. Let's start with the demand side, because the numbers are quite striking, to me at least. 75% of global travelers say they intend to travel more sustainably in the next 12 months. That's not a niche, that's 3/4 of the traveling public. And it's not just intention, because in 2025 alone, travelers booked 100 million nights at certified properties on Booking.com. 100 million nights, that's pretty striking. And the number of certified properties on the Booking.com platform grew 22% in a single year to 28,000 properties worldwide. And on the BeCause platform, we grew to more than 36,000 certified properties worldwide in that time as well. So the demand is real, it's large, and it's accelerating. Now, alongside that rising demand, there is something else which is worth naming directly. And I think most people in this room probably already feel it. Travelers don't just want sustainable options, they want to be able to trust the claims being made. And right now, not all sustainability claims in our industry are backed by something verifiable. They're statements, not necessarily credentials. And travelers, and increasingly corporate buyers, are getting better at telling the difference. But here's the good thing. It's not a crisis, it's a solvable problem. And the solution already seems to be well understood. Verification and transparency. Third-party certification, that is. When a sustainability claim is backed by a recognized certification, something auditable, something independently verified, it stops being a claim and it becomes a credential. That's what builds trust, not more messaging and better copywriting. It's verified data transparently presented. Hotels and hotels group that invest in that verification are not just ticking a compliance box. They are actually building the kind of trust that influences booking decisions. And the competitive implications of this are already visible in the data. Those 28,000 certified properties on Booking.com represents that 22% increase in a single year, as I just said. The hotels and hotel groups investing in certifications are pulling ahead, and the pace is accelerating. And for a single property, that is a meaningful shift. But for a portfolio of 50 or 100 or 200 properties, it's a strategic question. So because it's not enough for your flagship property to be certified anymore, the question is whether you can achieve and maintain verified credentials consistently across your entire portfolio. And that's what brings us, and that brings us to where the real operational challenge sits. Because when sustainability data is missing or incomplete, it doesn't just create a trust problem. It creates a real revenue problem. And here are some numbers on what that looks like in practice. 90% of sustainability questions in hotel RFPs are currently answered not applicable. Not answered incorrectly, just simply not answered at all. Because the data isn't there, it's not accessible, or the person inputting it does not know where it lives. 10% of RFPs are returned or rejected outright because the sustainability data is incomplete or inconsistent, which represents rework, missed deadlines, and obviously in some cases also lost business. And the last one is one of the ones that should really land, at least for me. At least one major global enterprise technology company recently released that they now require verified sustainability data before their travel managers can approve any hotel booking for their employees. So hotels who cannot provide that are simply not considered. So it's not a future compliance problem. It's a revenue problem, which is happening in the market right now. And so what's the answer to that? It's not more spreadsheets. It's not asking your property managers to fill in the same data in 6 different formats for 6 different requests. And it's not a communications exercise. The answer is infrastructure. A single source of verified sustainability data entered once, structured correctly, and available everywhere it's needed. So every RFP, every booking platform, every corporate buyer that asks, every audit, all pulling from the same verified source. That's what makes sustainability scalable across a portfolio, not just achievable at one property, but consistent and maintainable and credible across all of them. And that is exactly what my colleague Janus is going to show you how to build. And that was it for my part here. So Janus, please take it away.
Yep. Do you all hear me loud and clear? Yep, nice. All right. Well, my name is Janus, and I'm the solution specialist here at BeCause. And I'm going to take you through some of the features that talk into what Kristian has just presented. And it's going to be kind of a high-level approach to some of the features, and then I hope you can see the thread that goes between them. Yeah, and I see some familiar names out there, and yeah, just excited to present this for you. Let me just a second. All right. So all the you could say that a good starting point to get the data is to make a data request, which you can do on our platform. So from our platform, you can roll out tasks. This can be custom task, framework data request, RFP data request. What you're looking at right here is a custom task. You give it a title, a description, some tags, and you can provide a link to where it should be, the task should be fulfilled, and you can send it out. You then select which part of your portfolio should receive it. So we allow you to group your portfolio. So maybe you only want to send out a data request to the managed part of your portfolio because that's where it's relevant. In the video that's playing on your screen, it's an example of asking your portfolio to fill out the HDMI calculators on BeCause. And once you roll this out, the task will land in every property's account on BeCause, so they can complete it, and you'll get an overview yourself where you can track the progress for each hotel in your portfolio. So simply a single view containing all your hotels and how they're progressing on the task. Yeah. So this was a custom task, but as I said, we also offer it for frameworks, RFPs. So now I'll show you quickly how it works for RFPs. And it's the it's the same idea. You select the relevant RFP. So in this case, we're going with the HRS Advanced. You select the season and a deadline. And again, you select which part of your portfolio is relevant. Maybe it's everyone, maybe it's just a subset of your portfolio. You select the relevant task or tag, and then a description for what you're sending out. And then you save it. And once you save it, it's saved as a draft. And this is where it gets more exciting, because we also give you, and I'll show you this in a second, we give you the possibility of pre-filling answers centrally from your end. And at the same time, we also pull in answers automatically if they've already been answered in a previous or another RFP framework or certification application elsewhere on the platform. And I want you to keep this in mind, that whenever a hotel, one of your hotels have answered a question on the platform, if they have to answer it again in a different framework, RFP or application, it will automatically be pre-filled. So you insert once and it's pre-populated for every hotel or for every framework RFP. So you save it, and this will give you a draft, and this allows you to pre-fill some central answers. So maybe you know that all your establishments has a sustainability policy, and you know that they display environmental initiative. So you can save that, and then you can share. You can choose to notify your hotels via email, and you can add a message. But this essentially clearly marks these answers as pre-filled, and the individual hotel can see it has been pre-filled on a chain level beforehand, so they don't all have to do it. Yeah. And then once you send it out, you will get, it will show up in your data requests page where you can see all active data requests, and we'll give you a quick overview for each individual request, so you can see the progress for each hotel, if they have started, if they're in progress, if they've completed the RFP. You can also see the percentage of how many hotels has answered each question. You can send out notifications, so when you get close to the deadline, you could notify all the ones that are still in progress or haven't started yet, and remind them that they should fill out the RFP. And it's also important to mention that for these RFPs, we share the data automatically with the relevant parties, such as HRS or CVent, etc. Yeah. And from here, we go on to data validation. So the data is only valuable if it's trustworthy. So we've implemented a AI-powered data validation on the platform, and this is running across your full portfolio, all the utility data that we have from your portfolio. And we'll get into how we can obtain this utility data, whether it being entered manually from the hotels or if we consume it automatically from your end. But this essentially allows you to catch data entry errors before they actually get shared in an RFP or an certification application. It will show you how many warnings each hotel has, and these warnings are based on anomalies such as very high consumption numbers based on previous months or very low consumptions and so on. Then we have our calculators, HMI and HWMI, which is an industry standard methodology for measuring carbon and water emissions. So as a hotel chain, you get a very clear overview of your full portfolio, who has filled out their calculators and who hasn't. You can review their inputs, you can see the results. We obviously also give you the option of exporting the results in bulk or the individual calculators if you'd like. And again, it's super important to remember that once one of your individual hotels has filled out a calculator, then the results of the calculator is automatically streamlined into RFPs or certification applications, and so on. As an example, HRS specifically asks for some of the outputs of the HMI calculator and ask you how you have calculated these metrics. And this will all automatically be filled out once the hotel fills out their calculator. Then we have some analytics. So we have various dashboards, which rolls up all the data that you have on the platform. So you can track performance trends over time, as we're looking at right here. So you can look at it covering your whole portfolio. You can look at it for individual hotels in your portfolio or parts of your hotel portfolio. It also allows you to benchmark, so you can benchmark your individual hotels against your whole portfolio or again against parts of your portfolio. And the one we're looking at right now is your consumption trends, but we offer this for various types of data. So it could also be framework answers or RFP answers and whatnot. Yeah. And then we move on to the certification co-pilot. So one of the things we're super proud about is that we actually allow hotels to the full end-to-end flow of obtaining a certification. So going from applying for a certification, filling out the application itself, having the application audited, and all the way until it's finalized and the hotel actually received the certification. And for you as a hotel chain, you get full visibility of the application progress for all of your hotels. You also get the option of, and that's what we're looking at right now, is actually requesting certifications for your hotels, for one or more hotels. And again, it's very important throughout all of these slides that I'm showing you that the data flows from every part of the system. So again, if Green Key asks for some data that HRS also asks for, it's automatically pre-filled if you filled it out in one place, or if you've used the calculator to calculate it, it will be filled out everywhere where it's asked. And what you're looking at now is the actual application overview that you can see as a chain. So you can see how far your hotels are in the progress. Are they in data collection? Are they being audited? Or are they finalized? And so on. You can also go in and see their answers on the application itself. And we also offer an AI advisor for the hotels to go in and ask questions when it might not be clear, and also to just simply verify the data to look for gaps and so on. Yep. And lastly, we have our certification insights. So we also give you at any point access to data such as which of your hotels are certified, which certifications do they hold, when do they expire, and this spans across all of the 90 plus certifications that we work with, and it's in real time, so you get it as soon as as recent as the certification has updated their data, and this can also be exported, of course, for reporting purposes, and that goes for all the other things we've looked at. Everything can be exported in bulk for any reporting you had to do. And then lastly, what I want to touch on is that for all of the things that I've just shown you, we offer open REST APIs across the whole platform to automate all the things, or at least the majority of what you've seen today. So that goes for everything from managing your portfolio on our platform, such as hotel metadata. It's importing utility data. So if you are using smart meters, or if you have some other system for collecting your utility data, you can automatically import it through the API to BeCause. This data can then be used to automatically create your calculators, get the results, and that way automatically pre-fill your RFPs and framework answers. The same goes for fetching data on your certified properties. This can be done through the API. Yeah, and as I said, whether you're importing it as utility data, you can also import criteria answers, framework answers, and so on. And yeah, it goes both ways. So all of this can also be fetched through the API afterwards. Yeah. And I think that's it for the demo. And yeah, and if you have any questions during the Q&A for any of the features that I've shown you, then yeah, feel free to fire away. And then I'll pass it back to Julia or Kristian.
Thanks, Janus. Lots of information there. I'm sure you are all feeling like BeCause can do everything, but it is quite remarkable how many amazing features we do have that can support a whole hotel portfolio. I think next slide. Thanks, Kristian. So we are very excited to welcome Amy Hulbert. She is the Vice President of the Boutique and Upscale Brands for Best Western Hotel Group. Amy is very, very graciously here at 6 o'clock in the morning from Phoenix, Arizona. So even more grateful for her to have such an early start. I mean, she looked out the window and it was dark. So thank you, Amy.
Of course.
Just checking, is your camera on, Amy?
It is.
Perfect. I just need to spotlight you quickly. And it is over to you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Kristian, you.
Thanks, Julie. As Julie said, my name is Amy Hulbert. I oversee our boutique and upscale brands, but also sustainability on a global platform. So I am so happy to have the opportunity to talk about this today. I'm very passionate about all that we're doing in the organization and some of the great things that BeCause brings to the table too. Even I learned some things that were just shared on the demo. So I feel like every time I watch a demo, I learn a little bit more about the platform. So I'm excited to walk through how we're approaching sustainability across that global platform of over 4,300 hotels in 100 countries. That brings some complexity to how we approach that. And certainly leveraging BeCause helps us to get the biggest impact for that. So Kristian, if you can go to the next slide. And maybe one more. So before we dive into sustainability, I think it's important to kind of understand who we are. And really, BWH Hotel Group is made up of 3 distinct companies. We have World Hotels, we have the Best Western brands, and we have our Sure Stay hotels. So kind of 3 distinct companies within our portfolio. And you can see how those are kind of broken out. But it's unique in that we have a membership model. This is not a typical franchise, except for our Sure Stay brand. So it does bring some different things to the table in terms of what we're looking for. So in that global enterprise made up of all of our independently owned and operated hotels, it's one of our greatest strengths. We have one of the biggest soft brand footprints in the industry, second to only one other brand with 500 properties, which is terrific. And certainly emphasizes our DNA, but it also means our approach to sustainability has to be flexible, scalable, and very owner friendly, because we definitely hear from those owners what they think of our initiatives. So we want to make sure that all of those are something that they can easily embrace. So from a strategy perspective, we really looked at 3 main goals to kind of focus on as we thought about sustainability and rolling it out in this kind of complex global portfolio. First, it was driving measurable reductions in energy, water, and waste, of course. That's first and primary for us. Our initiative, we call it Earth People Community. So we really look at our APC as encompassing all of those things. And of course, that's primary to us. Second, really supporting long-term asset value and cost efficiency for owners. At the end of the day, any initiative that we do and push for our owners, looking at that from a cost efficiency and a return standpoint is really key. And then also meeting our growth expectations from guests and corporate travel buyers. So the thing that probably got us over the hump and got our owners really embracing both a sustainability platform as well as getting certified was just that. It was the corporate travel buyers. And I loved that we got to see a little bit about how all of that easily flows through the RFP process, because hearing that 90% number that goes unfilled from a sustainability stats standpoint is staggering and certainly going to hurt our hotels in the long run. So importantly, we've made a commitment that all of our hotels will have a sustainability certification by the end of 2026. That's 4,300 hotels across our 100 countries. So it's a big leap for us, but we're excited about it, and I'll show you how we're making some great progress. Kristian, if you can go one more. So I mentioned our EPC initiative and how we're looking at that Earth People Community and how that's really key to us. We do have partnerships with a few different companies. As we look at our sustainability initiative, we don't have a lot of the resources in-house, so we're really leveraging some of the great resources that exist outside of our organization. And we're really looking at companies like WSHA, GBTA, H&LA in the United States, Green Key and Green Globe, and many others that are great partners to us and really help us to digest all of this and form that great strategy, and also support our owners as they go through their journey. Our regionalized structure is also something that we're really leveraging. So for all the hotelier and companies out there, I know we've got some partners in BWH out there as well, but we're really leveraging how we utilize our staff, and we're pushing and making sure that we're communicating, we're sending reminders, and making sure that they have every opportunity to ask questions. So we're in the midst of our travel season right now. I'm about to hit my next city next week for the third of the same meeting, and we're talking about sustainability, and I'm going to do it 6 times over and over again. And we just take a ton of questions, but it's great because it really opens up the floor for people to openly talk about what they think about the process and maybe where there could be some improvement. So we've had some great learnings from that. So, just from a structure standpoint, sustainability obviously sits in our headquarters. That's central. We also have our regional execution and support. That's both in North America and for all of our partners outside of North America and our affiliates. And that's equally, if not more important, because as many of you in Europe know, you're leaps and bounds ahead of where we are in North America. You're probably 10 years ahead of where we are. So the journey is a little bit different in each of our locations. And then we have a property champion at the property level. So we also want someone to be passionate about sustainability at the property as well. So Kristian, if you can move on. So our sustainability, as we look at this, we kind of put it into a few different buckets. And this slide really underscores why we leaned into data. Sustainability is no longer a nice to have, it's a must have. It's directly tied to revenue, competitiveness, and visibility in the marketplace. So we're seeing this in several ways. And I love that this was already mentioned, but those corporate RFPs, 100% of those include sustainability questions, and unanswered, we lose business with a lot of our major partners around the globe. Our travel buyers are increasingly requiring data and certifications as they look at their selections. OTAs and promoting hotels and sustainability credentials. I had a hotelier come to me last week and he said, I don't do RFPs. I don't do a lot of group business. So, how does sustainability benefit me? And, really emphasizing the value and the power of those OTAs, whether we like it or not, is key. And then guest perception. I have a 30-year-old daughter who will only stay in hotels that have a sustainable certification. She will not stay anywhere that does not. She even picked a location in Hawaii that did not have air conditioning, which she might have regretted. But it's definitely a selection that age group is more and more keen on. So beyond that external pressure, data really helps our owners. It helps identify inefficiencies. So I love the AI feature on BeCause, and just that's always kind of scrubbing and looking for anomalies. You can catch things like leaks or missing a zero in your data collection and so forth. Reducing those operating costs is another key element to it. So really looking at where we have opportunities to not only catch those inefficiencies, but hopefully fixing them before they cost a lot of money. And then helping to prioritize some high ROI investments. If you're starting to see that things are becoming less efficient, those higher ROI investments like HVAC systems and so forth can then be prioritized in the capital budget. So that helps our hoteliers plan as well. So this is what really drove us to formalize how we collect and manage our data across the portfolio. And we did this very thoughtfully and looked at a lot of options, frankly, before we partnered with BeCause, which was very all encompassing. So all of the things we were looking to achieve was able to be done on the platform. More, Kristian, thank you. So this is really where BeCause comes in for us, and how this kind of leans into our data strategy. We use BeCause to help in a few key ways. So properties input energy, water, waste into the platform. The data input on a regular cadence helps us to keep that data fresh. And then each hotel has a designated owner, which is either their general manager or their operations director, so that we have kind of one person. Today, what we're doing and what we see with hotels is that they're collecting a lot of this data in Excel forms. They're keeping it on a computer with the chief engineer. If the chief engineer leaves the property, that data generally goes along with him or her, so that's not a very good way to do that. In addition to what it does from a property level, I will tell you from an enterprise level, I don't have any data about how our hotels are performing, and what our global footprint looks like from a brand standpoint. So gathering all of this data will help us to, number one, kind of figure out where we are today, and figure out what our goals are in the future. So all of that data-driven decision-making is really key. So simplifying reporting and reducing the administrative burden. The music to my ears and the demos were, you put this in once and it continues to populate in all of the platforms that you're going to use, whether it's a certification or an RFP or any other documentation. So it's a put it in once and not over and over again. I think that's what stops hoteliers from doing the right thing at the end of the day. It also provides real-time dashboards for both the hotels, and they can compare themselves to their peers, to those in other brands that are similar to theirs. And then we can also look at it from, just a regional perspective. We can break it down in lots of different ways, which is terrific. It also helps us support certification tracking. We use Green Key Global in North America. We use many different organizations outside of North America, including Green Key International, but it really helps us to support those certifications and how we're flowing that data from place to place. Again, it's not putting things in more than once, which I think provides a lot of the resistance. So, looking at those verified responses, I've heard over and over again from our sales team how critical this is. And their frustration is always in the fact that we can't get people to respond to RFPs properly. So, just making that as easy as possible. In the long run, while there's a little bit of a lift, and I've been very clear with our owners that there is some work up front to get all of this together, but the time savings in the long run will be more than worth it. So it's easier and more structured. We make it that higher participation level gives us that great data growth, and just the ability to watch all of that as we really take our first steps from a sustainability standpoint as an organization, big picture, and then we can set our goals going forward. So it's all really kind of rolled up into that main initiative for us. So I'll go through these really quickly. So these are, I'm a data person. I'm a designer by trade, but I love data as well. And I have data people on my team. Thank goodness. I tell them what I dream and then they create it. So I have some great dashboards so that we can look at how we're doing and pacing along. So we have almost 900 hotels today. This number has actually gone up even more in North America. This is just North America, by the way. But we're tracking how many keys they got, what their status is, where they are in the process of their certification, and also by region, so that we can maybe create some competitiveness. So we have individuals that kind of head up each of those districts. So I've given them all targets and goals to try to get their areas, and nobody wants to be last. So that's added a little bit of gamification to the process. And next one, Kristian. So then outside of North America, something similar. So you can kind of see how we're tracking and what we're looking at. just in terms of us getting close to the deadline of December 31st of this year. So we're just about a half a year away, and so we're pacing well, and everybody's making their plans accordingly based upon kind of how we're doing. So, from our standpoint, we just love to share kind of what we're doing, because we had the opportunity to kind of start our sustainability efforts from scratch. We were really looking at, who we were partnered with, and how that was all going to come together from an enterprise perspective. We were able to be very thoughtful about it. So I'm proud of all that we're achieving in a very short amount of time. I know as I talk to some of my hotel peers, they are doing some similar things, but maybe with some less mandates. So I'm proud of our organization for really committing to this, not only from a tracking standpoint, but also from a certification standpoint, because not only is it the right thing to do, but it's going to help our owners in the long run. So I really appreciate the opportunity to have a chance to talk with you all today. I know there's some BWH folks out there, and thanks for joining as well.
Thanks so much, Amy. You guys can be so proud. It's so bold and brave to have such an audacious goal, like have everyone for over 4,000 properties certified by the end of the year. So amazing, and kudos to you. And it's just remarkable. So thank you, and your insights and your on the ground stuff was obviously so valuable to everyone on the webinar. So thank you.
Thank you.
Kristian, perfect. Thank you. So we are going to head into the Q&A. I'm sorry, we'll try to speed it up because I know that people have amazing questions. While you guys wait for us to get going, we have just released our milestone report, as Kristian mentioned. It is a free, ungated thing. If you would like to have a little read on the bus later, then just scan the QR code and it'll be on your phone. Otherwise, I will put the link into our chat if anyone wants to download it to their desktop. But let's kick it off. We actually had a few questions flood in before the webinar started. If you don't mind, I'll just ask those very general high-level ones, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty details from Andrea specifically. Thank you for that. So Jahanzib, our Chief Commercial Officer, is also going to join potentially to answer some pretty technical, difficult questions. So you might see Jazz's face pop up, and that's who he is. He's our Commercial Officer. But let's kick it off. Okay, so a question raised by someone preceding the webinar. We have 200 plus properties across multiple brands. How does BeCause handle properties that are very different in their sustainability maturity levels? Jazz, would you like to?
Sure, definitely. Great question. I would say that a lot of the work that we do initially, and I think we actually also did this with Amy when we got started, is understanding the different aspects there is when it comes to adoption. So you have 200 hotel properties. They're all in different stages of their sustainability journey. It's important to understand what is the reason behind that they're in the different stages. One, is it regional? Is it local pressure? Is it because the type of hotel doesn't receive RFPs or certifications not available? There's different reasons for this. And then you can create what we usually do is create subsegments and subsegments of that. Now, the number one rule that overrules them all is once you get enough of a handful up and running, they start to inspire others. Amy mentioned this in her conversation as well. No one wants to be last. So once you get enough of a handful up and running, they start to get inspired by each other and doing more. Now, how does BeCause manage that? That's by ensuring that we have a full overview of that. If you have 200 properties, and let's say that you want to divide that structure into the 500 champions and 1,500 that will come after that. Well, we can create that structure in BeCause and say, well, the first 500, we're going to start with them. We're going to get them as far as possible in their sustainability journey according to your program. And then we'll open up the space to the rest 1,500 so they can be inspired by what the 500 have done. That group structure is, from a technical point, possible in our platform. You can also choose to divide it by brand, by region, and by other subsegments. So the possibilities are very varied, but I would say even though we work with many different chains today, because it's never the same story. It's always different and it's always case by case on what is specific to you. So that's what the first couple of weeks together with us, we help decide.
Thanks, Jazz. Amazing. Amy, I've got one for you. What was the single biggest internal resistance you faced when rolling out sustainability data collection across your properties, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah. That is very clearly a time issue. So when owners think about us requiring them to do certification, that was a big ask. When we then ask them to input their data as well, they're thinking of them as two different tasks. So we're really looking to leverage the ability to have that data flow. And so I've been messaging out to all of our owners that if they begin one process, they're really beginning both processes because of that that data sync, which has really been impactful. So to be able to look at people and say, you know, you're putting this into your Green Key certification, but that data is going to then be available in your BeCause platform. So you will not have to, you know, be starting from no data at all. So it gives people a start. Then they're not so afraid to, you know, look at that and be overwhelmed.
Amazing. So it's the stepping stone, the first little step on the journey.
Most definitely.
Thanks so much. So Andreas asked a question, and Jazz has kindly answered it in writing, but I'm just going to say it out loud in case anyone had a similar. How often does a hotel need to fill out the calculators? He's referring to the HCMI and the HWMI calculators. Is it length of stay? Because length of stay of customer can vary. So each a single night, or example, a single night with single occupancy. I just want to make it clear that the HWMI and the HCMI calculators are WSHA global standard calculators that we have automated. So the standards were set by them as global best practice. Jazz, do you want to read your answer, or do you want to for me to read it?
Sure, I can read it out loud. So basically, the way that the two methodologies work is that you look at your previous data and it basically calculate or your previous months or years data, and it calculates a baseline. Now that baseline can be used to create client-specific reports. So once you know what your carbon footprint per square meter per room night is based on the inputs, you're able to create client-specific reports based on their stay, occupancy, and other parameters. As Judy mentioned, it's really important to say we do not decide the methodology of these calculators. These are decided by experts, and specifically in this case, it's decided by the World Sustainable Hospitality Alliance, who have where members such as Best Western, Radisson, Accor, and others sit that together decide how do you correctly calculate the footprint of a hotel when it comes to carbon. So we've simply digitized it, made it available so it's easy to use, and that's where you will be able to create the client-specific reports. We've seen there's some chains or hotels that create monthly reports, some create yearly, some have even automated it because we connect to their internal data lakes, and it just automatically calculates their carbon footprint per hotel. So there's multiple possibilities, but I hope that answers your question.
Thanks, Jazz. Yeah, Andreas, please you're welcome to switch your mic on if you want us to further explain anything.
Thank you. Thanks for that. Thank you.
And then another, Andrea Vieira has asked, are there any metrics you're tracking that indicate whether you've seen an increase in booking or occupancy after someone's become Green Key Global certified? I think that's what GKG stands for. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that for me or is that for, I can start it off and then Amy, if you have anything to input on that. So this is the question everybody wants to get answered. What increase in bookings do you see once you're certified? It's a question we've been waiting on getting answered for many years, and obviously different hotels have their data. I can tell you that potentially this year we might be able to answer that. What we have seen and what we can answer is that there's a 15% more visibility. Now, I want to be very specific here. Visibility does not mean booking. So the answer to that question is still yet undefined, but we'll soon be there to answer it very specifically. What we're seeing is intent. What we're seeing lately, what Kristian also showed, that 100 million stays were booked at certified properties. Now we need to connect the dots between that, and that obviously includes involvement from the chains and the hotels in showing that.
Thanks,
Andrea, let me
Jazz.
know if there's any further questions to that.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think
Thank
that's
you.
great. Yeah, just kind of like hinting at, it seems like this would be a really great case study for that because you have such a large sample set.
Yeah.
And it's exciting what you all are doing. So thank you.
Thank you. I can tell you that the database is being used to conduct such a study currently. The results are just undefined. It needs to go on long enough, let me put it in that way, before we can make some definitive results. So hopefully soon we'll be able to share that.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Andrea. I've got a pretty specific technical one on certification co-pilot, Jazz. So we're targeting green key certification across 30 properties. Is it realistic to do one simultaneous rollout, or should we phase it?
That would really much depend on where you're, again, back to the first question, where your hotels are. So if you're doing one simultaneous rollout to all properties, and let's say that the HQ already has some data points collected at HQ level, then yes, why not? Let's roll them out. If you have people responsible at those properties that can actually fill out the remainder of those applications, let's roll it out. We've done that before, where we've actually rolled it out to 30 properties, where we actually got the time to application down from 4 months to 1 month. So that's where that impact can happen. But it really does depend on where your properties are.
Thanks so much. Maybe we can squeeze a quick question in. Amy, I've got one for you. How do you handle properties that are franchise operated versus your company managed ones when it comes to sustainability compliance?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, and it's an easy answer because we own one hotel. Everything else is independently owned and operated. So the complexity and the buy-in that we need from all of those owners, you can imagine everybody has an opinion about all of this, but it's just about as complex as we can get. If we managed a subset of hotels, that would certainly be easy because then you just you tell yourself what to do, but that is not the case with us, and those are all independently owned and operated. But I think we've gotten really good adoption based upon that. When you look at our numbers in that context, it gives you even more more of a positive outlook on how we're pacing along.
Amazing, thank you. I think that is it for today. We are going to wrap it up. I would just ask that you all very kindly look in the chat, and we've launched a survey just to hear your inputs on this webinar. If you found it valuable, what you found valuable, we just always trying to improve and just make sure that we don't waste anyone's time and you arrive here and you get some gorgeous takeaways and golden nuggets. So please do fill in that survey. I would really, really appreciate it. And thank you, Amy. Your wisdom that you've just shared is for me the most valuable and interesting thing, and nothing, on the ground is honestly the best insights we could ever ask for. So thank you so much, and practical insights. And thank you, Jazz, and thank you, Kristian, and thank you, Janus. And we hope that you'll join a webinar shortly. Please do look at our website. We will load all our future webinars to come up there. So we always would love for you to join them. And then if you would you like a personalized demo, please reach out to our team or book a demo on our website. Very simply book a demo. There's a calendar that you can pick a slot, and we will do a personalized engagement with you. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a lovely morning or evening, depending where you are.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.